Hi everybody, this is Lee at Fresh Astrology. It's Monday, November 27th, 2017, and we have a moon in Pisces. Universally speaking, that is taking place in the 12th house, which represents our psyche, kind of our group psychological place of the unconscious, the subconscious mind, and dealing with how we think. How do we make sense of the world? Where do we spend our conscious thoughts? Because we spend them not always in a way that we think we do. We spend a lot of time while we are awake consciously going unconscious, consciously doing things like remembering stuff. So, not just trying to remember where the car keys are, but remembering, just going off into a reverie, a memory of something that happened last week, a year ago, 30 years ago, and we're just kind of lost in what we think is a memory. It may not even be accurate, and we get lost in kind of our emotional reactions to that. Sometimes we start feeling sad because of the memory. Sometimes it makes us happy, but then it's sort of bittersweet because it's not real, it's not happening now. An iconic example of this would be, the high school football star and the high school beauty queen, years later, not feeling the same kind of success and feeling like high school was the best time in their life. So if they go back into those memories, it may feel bittersweet. It was a good time maybe for them, or so they think. In their minds, they make it into that. But then they get sad even in that memory because they're not in it currently. They're not experiencing what they think that was now. If they think that back then was glory, success, popularity, or whatever, and this is just an example. We do it with so many, everything, because everybody does this. They think it was all these great things, and they may not even be seeing it clearly, and therefore they're not even seeing their current life clearly. They're comparing their current life to something that maybe wasn't even real. It's just the way they perceive it, if that makes sense. This is hard to wrap our minds around when we first start thinking about it this way, that we spend our current life lost in thought, lost in the past, lost in the future, always dreaming about what will be or could be, always imagining some kind of story out in the future. And there are ways to work with thought, there are ways to encompass the future and bring it into the now, but one needs to do it with some savvy, with some skill, with some practice. There are better, more aware, more conscious ways to get lost, quote unquote, lost in the future. Even to use the past to your advantage, but you need to know what you're doing. That's what we work on in the kind of coaching I do. That's what kind of the style and the toolkit from Martha Beck, who is brilliant at this. And so we don't just make lists of goals. I don't act like a football coach and say, go, go, go. I don't give you hard talking tos. I work with people on developing how to use their mind. How do you use your mind? How do you harness the power of the mind? That's what we work on. So with this moon in Pisces, it's a good time to remember that we get confused, we get lost in our mind, like we literally lose our way, and we end up in places we don't intend. And that power of the mind to create our reality, maybe not in the woo-woo way that some people talk about if you can't go quite that far with it, but maybe just in making concrete decisions about now, good, informed, by informed I mean self-informed. And when we get so lost, literally lost in the map of our mind, in the terrain of our mind, we don't know where to even find that good basis, that grounding in what would work best for us. We don't even know where to find that information. How do you find that information? It's not based on what other people tell you is the best thing for you. It's not based on what's good for other people and what they do. There's a way to find your own wisdom. And Martha Beck is now not calling us life coaches, but wayfinders. And wayfinders were a real group of people who had a toolkit to help them find their way so they don't get lost. So in coaching, that's what we do. And it's interesting how it does relate to astrology somehow. I can explain more about that later, but I just wanted to get you noticing, where does your mind go during the day? Notice how many times you're just lost in your mind and you're not fully present. Just start to notice when you kind of blink and wake up and you come to. It's like, where have I been? I've been lost in thought. There's times when you're driving, sometimes for an hour or more, and suddenly you blink and you realize you've just been gone. You have not been aware. Where were you? Just start to notice that. All right, take care.